All right. We're going to get this we're going to get this going shortly. Hold on. I am struggling to deal with this. We're going to figure this out though. Figure out the best way to do the live chat. Hold on, it's probably better on the app, eh? Is that what y'all are telling me? If I switch the app, how well does this go? Yeah, there you go. Okay, this is better. Hold on. Yeah, there is a live show. I don't know why. This is why we're just gonna do it. Um, hold on a second. Let me. Oh, we're also a little bit behind. I'm a little bit behind. I'm gonna have to get used to this. I thought that it would just be like. Yeah. So how does this work exactly? Where I get to comment and chat. Oh, here's where the chat is. Never mind. Okay, now I fully understand. Sorry about this. I've done YouTube lives before, and this is obviously you're seeing a YouTube live. But in this case, it's a YouTube live mixed with Riverside, which is sort of the recording software that we use to do Hockey Inside Out. Uh, and once the game starts, or once we get close to the game starting, I'll explain why we're doing this. I mean, I'm sure you guys saw on the Gazette website there are no comments right now, and I thought that that was very unfortunate. It's a whole thing, basically, but we're upgrading the website, and I thought it would be good to, in the meantime, while there are no comments, allow us to still comment on the game and hang out and have a good time. Um, and this was seemed like the easiest way to do it. I don't know if it was the easiest way to do it, but we are doing this. So, we're going to try to do the things that we were doing before in terms of polls, and we're going to do predictions. So, let's start with an easy one. Yeah, what is the deal with my connection right now? I noticed it too. My connection is not as good as it should be. Not entirely sure what the deal with that is. Let me figure this one out. Let me figure this one out. I don't know. It looks pretty good on PC. Hmm. Very odd. So I don't know. We'll make it work with what we got. Anyways, mostly this is about the chat for portion. I don't think I'm gonna be so entertaining today, but you'll hear me scream along with the Habs, either positively or negatively. But yeah, we will. Yeah, they're talking about Noah Dobson in the pregame. I don't really know what to expect with Noah Dobson. He got a huge contract, has up and down history with the Islanders. He wasn't great a year ago. He was great 2 years ago. He's definitely the kind of defenseman that the Canadiens and Martin St. Louis are interested in. So let's see how it goes. It'll either be a good or bad thing. There's sort of a Hudson on the first power play unit. Like, will Dobson get a lot of power play time? Is he going to be able to rack up the points, or does it not matter? Is he just going to soak in a lot of minutes and hopefully stabilize the defense? The defense wasn't the strong suit of the team a year ago, and it's going to have to get a lot better. Yeah, making their Habs debut tonight. We got Dobson. We've got Valeno's not in tonight. Who else is in tonight? Pretty much the same team otherwise. Who else is added? No, that's pretty much it. Obviously, guys like Kapanen, Demidov played a couple games last year. They didn't play a lot, but they're basically new players, even though they're not making their debut tonight. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Obviously, Ken Dryden, passed away not that long ago, and yeah, you can definitely read. I mean, Jack Todd wrote an incredible obituary for him. We got some incredible photos by Alan McGinnis on the website, so definitely check it all out. We put a lot of love in our tribute to Ken Dryden, well deserved. And I know a lot of people were asking me if you remember there was a Ken Dryden statue at the Côte-Vertu Mall for the longest time, and a lot of people are asking me, "Oh, where is it? Where is it now?" It does actually still exist. It's in Ville Saint Laurent now at one of the arenas there. If you look it up on Google, you can find it. The statue's outside. It's for every anybody can go check it out now. But yeah, it's not in the mall anymore. So don't go to the mall. I don't even know if that inside part of the mall still exists. I'm gonna guess that it doesn't. Is gonna be my guess. Yes, exactly. Raymond Bork Arena. There you go. I knew it was somewhere. I knew it was somewhere. Is it Raymond Bork? I guess it is Raymond Bork. Of course, he's a Montrealer. Bruin, though. That's okay. We'll forgive him for that. So this URL, that's if you want to follow along with the action. This is sort of the classic live blog. Yeah, okay. We don't have the live blog widget either. So that was the whole thing. It's a package deal, right? On the Gazette website, you get the comments and you get the live blog portion are unfortunately both attached to the same external software that we use, and neither of them are working at the moment. So hence why we're on here. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, Montembeau versus Dobesh. Very interesting competition. Obviously, like Montevo's coming into the season as the sort of clear cut number one. He had a career high in games last year, but there's something about the confidence of Jakub Dobesh and then obviously his size that makes him a really intriguing goalie for the future. I know everybody's already anointing Jacob Fowler is the goalie of the future, but Dobish is a young guy too. He's big, he's athletic, and just seems to like not be shaken by much. He didn't look out of place in the playoffs, so I don't know. We'll see what happens this year with both, but I do think it's not as clear cut. A Montebo is going to play, the majority of the games, and Dobesh will not play very much. I think Dobesh could definitely find himself playing more. The more he proves himself. I would absolutely agree. So yeah, so welcome everybody uh, who's popping in slowly. Is Florian with the club? Florian is currently in Laval. He was one of the last cuts. He and Beck. Um, but they also let Sammy Blais go on waivers when they didn't have to. They had an extra lineup spot and they could have kept Sammy Blais, but I think they decided to let him go because of how good Florian Jacki was in camp. I think he's the first call up, he or Beck, depending on who gets hurt. They're both the first call ups, and I think they both honestly look NHL ready to me. Oh yeah, the Kings. Yeah, that's our old pal Marc Bergevin's work. They definitely look a lot older and heavier, which is definitely what he did with the Canadiens in sort of the final years that he was here. And now he's doing it in LA, and it didn't work here. I think it's gonna work even less there. Especially as like Kopitar already said this is his last season, 20 seasons in the league. So yeah, I don't think the Kings, unless they get somebody, but we're starting to see how hard it is to get somebody. Everybody was saying like, oh, maybe Kaprizov. Well, Kaprizov signed, and then people were saying, oh, maybe Jack Eichel. Jack Eichel signed. So there's just nobody available, really. That's an interesting. Colby Armstrong just said 100 points for Nick Suzuki. That's an interesting one. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. I think 100 is a lot to ask, especially because they don't necessarily have a Christian Dvorak absorbing all those penalty kill minutes. So I do think that Nick Suzuki will at some point be forced to play on the penalty kill, and I don't know if that'll bite into his offensive time. One would assume that it does. Those are our lines tonight. Uh, oh man, Patrick Laine on the fourth line. Who are the free agents at the end of the year for the Habs? Matheson and Line are the two. Those are the two big ones. I don't believe there are any others. Those are the two big ones. Anderson and Gallagher have another year after this one. But yeah, the two big guys are Line and Matheson. Line, I think, barring some, I don't know, 40-goal season or something, I wouldn't expect him back. But otherwise, I think the lineup for the Habs looks pretty set at the moment. Barring injury, I don't know who's going to get in there. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, Veleno's going to have to play at some point. I am I bullish on the Habs making it into the second or third round. I am pretty excited about the skill level of this team. I think they can make it out of the first round. They're definitely going to put up a better fight than they did against Washington. I think they can make the second round. The third round is a bit of a stretch. The third round is definitely reserved for whoever the best team in the division. Like they're going to have to get through whoever the best team in the division is, which could potentially be a Florida Panthers team with a healthy Matthew Tkachuk and Alex Barkov, who did not, basically didn't play during the regular season. Because even without them, I still see them as being a potential playoff team. So it would be hard for the Canadians to beat a team like that. But yeah, honestly, the skill level is really high on this team, and they're starting to develop these kind of more bottom six guys like Beck and Jacky, who can bring that toughness that a young team doesn't have. Young teams, the young team you build out, you start with skill, and then you start to bring those like character guys in, and it feels like the skill guys are here now. They just need to get more, reach their potential, and then now sort of the heavier guys are coming in, and I hope that we'll have sort of like a good top and bottom six partition. I'd say is what I'm hoping for. But yeah, and as for that second line, man, Bolduc, Doc, and Gallagher, I think really speaks to one how little they trust Line right now. They just didn't want Line with Doc. I think they just really didn't feel like there was any potential 5-on-5 with those two. And then if they don't trust Doc with Line, and then they don't trust Demidov with Line because they don't, you know, they want Demidov to not be struggling at 5-on-5. So suddenly, if you're like starting to split all these guys up, yeah, and suddenly you have a second line of Bolduc, Doc, and Gallagher. But I kind of like it. I mean, I think it'll be, it would have been nice to see Demidov with Doc, like what somebody a little more high end. But Bolduc and Gallagher, I think are a little better on the defensive side. They're a little better at sort of getting into corners. So hopefully Doc can do some magic along the wall. Uh, Arbor over Struble. Yeah, that's going to be a battle pretty much all season. I think until one of them leaves, if one of them were to leave, or somebody gets hurt. The problem is that they're kind of similar in a way, but the Jack Eye, I think, sort of tantalizes with like a bit more. He's a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, a little bit of a better shot. There's more of a package to put together there with Jack Eye. But I do agree that Struble just seems really solid, and last year played really well with Hudson. So I don't know if let's say somebody gets hurt, let's say Matheson gets hurt, you're not putting Jack Eye on that second pair. Like you're probably putting Struble on that second pair, and then you're So I think Jack Eye is kind of like sort of forever locked in this third pairing. Yeah, Jack Eye is definitely tougher. Although Strubal's tough, but he's like a different kind of tough, I think. Struble looks like he's quick to defend his teammates, and he's strong as a bull. And if he's got to take somebody down, he'll take somebody down. But Jack Eye's got that when he's on the ice, the other team notices him. And we saw it with the Ottawa Senators, right? The Ottawa Senators were trying to drag him into stuff all night, which if he resists, it's obviously it's a benefit for the Canadiens because it throws the other team off their game. Really looking forward to both Jack Eyes being on the team soon enough. I don't know if we're gonna need a full season in Laval for Florian. Really, I think the only way that happens is let's say he struggles, gets off to a slow start, or like last year, where like none of the forwards really ever got hurt. Everybody like the forwards were pretty healthy the whole time. So we'll see what happens there. 20 goals from Line. Yeah, I Line a big conundrum because they need his offense. Like they're not so talented that they can afford to not have Line at all. Like they do still need his goals, and he could still, he's probably outside of Caulfield's still the second best goal scorer on this team in all likelihood. Um, but man, Marty's got an idea of how he wants this team to play, and I just don't think that Line fits into it. And I think he's willing to not play him or not play him much. Yeah, what is the score in the Jays game? I should probably check that out. Hold on, let's see. Let's see who's winning in the Jays game. Oh, it's still in warm-ups. Really, the Brewers are still in it? Good for that. Good for the Brewers. Yeah, Arbor. It's definitely I think put up or shut up time with Arbor. I'd be really shocked if they. I mean, they do need to play Struble at some point, but I think at a certain point, man, if Arbor's like your part-time defenseman, he's I don't know. I don't know if it's that valuable to have him then. I feel like some other team would definitely give him a top 6 spot pretty readily. Is my feeling on that. The puck drop is in a matter of minutes. Uh yeah. Usually it's like 7-10, but I mean, well, it's Toronto, so they're not going to have like such crazy intro, I hope. I mean, yeah, yeah. Okay, they're getting started now. They're getting started now. Yeah, we got some Leafs rival, some Sens. I don't know. Yeah, yeah. I mean, how do you guys feel about these Leafs pre-games? Oh my God, this arena is. Is there a game going on tonight in Toronto? I can't even. They're so quiet. They're not even cheering right now. Is my audio broken? I don't think my audio is broken. Cause I can hear the bad techno music and I can hear the PA announcer. But goodness. Oh, there's a little. There are people in there. I hear a little cheer for Craig Berube. There you go. Oh yeah, Lawton's hurt for the Leafs. Yes, true. Bergevin is only assistant GM, but didn't they let go of Rob Blake? But they have somebody else now. Is that where Ken Holland ended up? Yes, that's where Ken Holland must have ended up. Ugh. I mean, Ken Holland's probably got the same mindset as Bergevin. Old and slow. Got to fill up the team with old and slow guys. Uh, yeah, I totally agree with you about Hudson. I was really convinced that they were going to sign him on Monday. It just seemed like the rumors were kind of popping around, and obviously Lacombe signed and Luke Hughes signed, and it just seemed like there was a clear dollar amount of what it was, but there was like a dollar amount for defensemen. Like you can't, you know, add a little bit because it's Montreal and Canada and Quebec taxes and the deferred money and all that, and you kind of know what you're gonna pay him, but it sounds like there were some difficulties about deferment and the bonus structure and all that. Things above my pay grade, but they couldn't get it done. Uh, it'll be interesting for Hudson because obviously, you know, there's still skeptics out there. He's, still a very small defenseman in a big defenseman's league, and although he was he was a franchise defenseman last year. He was very good, and he completely changed the complexion of this team when he like got acclimated. But at the same time, yeah, I mean, one more season without sort of a contract. I mean, he could a lot could happen. He could have a slight down year. He could play a lot better and get a lot more money. So he's by not signing, it sounds like he's betting on himself, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think he's gonna get a lot of points. And the Leafs are without Mitch Marner for the first time in gosh, what, like almost a decade. Uh People think that Leafs fans don't seem that upset about Marner being gone. I will say, even though he's obviously like 100 point player, and that's hard to replace. I think this team's just lost so much in the playoffs that I think one of the guys from the big four had to go, and he's the guy to go. And now they can see if that's what was up, if that's the reason why they weren't winning. Skeptical, but they can try. Hey, the Jays are doing well. That's good. So you guys can see, I'm a Giants fan. So I have no fish to fry in the MLB playoffs right now, but I love Laddie Jr. and I don't like the Dodgers. So there you go. I think the Jays can beat the Dodgers if they meet in the World Series. It's true. They haven't been so far. But now Marner can go be a secondary player in Vegas, where it's probably not the pressure's not the same, and I'm sure he'll be great. And now it's going to be even more on Austin. Nobody to blame. Nobody to blame now but himself. McDavid for Hudson, as in we trade 1-for-1. I think the Canadiens would take that trade, but luckily for Edmonton, they re-signed McDavid. What was it, like a 2-year sweetheart deal to try to win finally in Edmonton. I thought, you know what? I thought Montrealers were rooting pretty hard for Edmonton last final. That seemed to be like I remember we were at the Gaz. We were sort of because they had put "Let's Go Oilers" on the bridge. There's a sign on the bridge, and we had found out that it's because the guy who programs it is like in Ottawa. They're just like a Canadian, a pan Canadian who just like loves all of Canada, and he was like, "Sure, let's type it in there," and we thought it was going to be controversial, and so we sort of Brendan Kelly went to go ask people, and they were like, "No, we're rooting for the Oilers." So Montreal Canadiens fans were willing to root for the Oilers. Well, that's nice. Ken Dryden tribute. Yeah, why the rush with Lane Hudson is a good question. He's not going anywhere. It's not like he's becoming an unrestricted free agent anytime soon. I think the reason why is because the cap is going up, continuously going up. I think we see now like when Suzuki signed, everybody was like, "Oh, that might be a lot," and now it looks like a bargain because prices went up, salaries went up. Ditto Caulfield, even a Slavkovsky, like Logan Cooley is probably going to make like $10.5 million, and although I would argue, he's obviously a much better, point getter than Slavkovsky, and probably going to be a better player than Slavkovsky. Is he a $3.5 million better player? I don't know. So yeah, with Hudson, I mean, yeah, I mean, at this point, it's probably the difference between signing him maybe for slightly under 10 mil or signing him for, maybe 12 mil. That's in a year. It's possible. So you want to get them while they're inexpensive, and you want to get some cost certainty in there, but he's not going anywhere. Like, if they have to pay him a lot, they'll pay him a lot. But I will say that is kind of what happened with PK Subban, right? Bergevin was like hardballing him all the time, didn't believe in him, and then when he got that $9.5 million deal, that was a lot. And you could argue that he didn't live up to it, and is part of what precipitated him leaving. But by not signing him right off the bat to a long-term deal, that is sort of the risk you run, that like it's gonna. McDavid's short-term deal was definitely a message to Edmonton management that I'm going to take a small pay cut here, but I'm not taking it. I'm not going to be here for 8 years if you keep goofing around. You have to make it work. You have to make a winner here. They made the finals now like twice. They're They're close. I don't know what they need. I mean, goaltending. I don't know why I'm like questioning that. I don't know what they need. Goaltending. Yeah. I mean, yeah. With Hudson, it's yeah. You don't want to lowball him. No, Hudson's actually not eligible for an offer sheet. He falls under that weird. Hadn't played enough games. It's like a weird. It's a weird level, but he's not. He's not eligible, which is kind of nice. Yeah, he can't be offer sheeted. Is this game seriously not started yet? Good gravy. No, no, now we're getting. No, no, now we're getting going. Now we're getting. It took a while. It took a minute. All right, we are underway. I like it. I like that prediction. Leafs with the first chance, though. Yeah, I totally agree about the PK thing. That contract, like the arbitration, the acrimony, like you knew that was going to happen. He was going to get traded. And then yeah, the children's hospital thing was the final straw. It was just not. It was not what previous management was into. Oof. Yikes. Couple of chances early for the Leafs. And exactly 1 minute into the game, it's 1-0 Leafs. Right off the draw, got redirected. Not great. Sorry, let's just say Leafs goal. Sorry to scare you all. You know what I mean. Goal singular. McMahon assisted by Nylander and Tavares. Not a great start. Now the Habs were not very good. Oh, nice to see you too, Max. I told y'all. I told y'all. So if I didn't explain it yet already, I can explain it now. The website's going through more update. I know last year, you guys, updates, updates, updates. There are more updates now, and unfortunately, right now, temporarily, we don't have comments on the website, as you've noticed. We also don't have the Liveblog widget because it's attached. It's the same third-party company that does the comments as the Liveblog chat, like the thing that I use to update it. And it's such a big season. I think I think the Habs are going to be so entertaining. I did not want to leave you all hanging, so I was like, I think over time, I'm hoping that soon we'll be able to go back to regular comments and comment. But I was like, for now, you guys can stare at my ugly face for a little bit, and and we can chat about the Habs. I thought this would be fun. This would be at least like a good alternative in the meantime. All right, well, this is a good shift. Finally. Well, there you go. That was the first sort of like big ozone rush for the team. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, the handles. Ugh, I wish I could tell you that everything's gonna be hunky dory with the commenting when we get back when the when the website update is finished, but I can I can make no guarantees about anything with that website. long story. It's basically the site has been it's like a website. I mean, the Gazette has gone through so many permutations. It's kind of like there's a website on top of a website on top of another website on top of another website. And we need to fix it, but like it's a long process. And so like we sort of did a first wave and now we have kind of this wave and there's probably going to be another wave at some point, but we're hoping to that for the long term it's going to be nice and smooth for everybody and that we can actually do more fun stuff. Yeah, New Hook. Not a lot of talk about New Hook. This off season. Demidov's come in, and people still have a lot of questions about Line A, and obviously Doc is healthy, and he's sort of anointed the second line center position. But what if New Hook? What's New Hook's future? I like it. Even with both Jack guys, maybe with both Jack guys, they won't be soft anymore, right? Maybe with any luck. Yeah, I'm Max. I'm with you. I'm not super confident in Alex Newhook right now. I feel like he can skate really well, can't really finish. His offensive skills are sort of not amazing. Oh, got our first penalty of the night. Patrick Liney's shaking his head. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, what did you guys think about that Line hook and penalty? That was as the announcer said, it was the kind of one that drives you crazy, right? If you're a coach. Yeah, he just kind of hacked away. Oh, well, I'll be. First goal of the season goes to Oliver Kapanen on shorthanded. Huh. Well, Marty said the guy's got a big game computer, so he used that one there. Caught them sleeping in the neutral zone. Yeah, Kapanen made the team last year. I know he didn't last long, but he did make the team last year. Ended up going to Sweden, had a career year in Sweden, and looked like a different player in preseason. I thought he looked like ready to go. Yeah, how far behind are the streams? I'm watching on Sportsnet Plus, and I think I'm like probably like 30 seconds behind if you're just watching it on cable. Because my brother's watching on cable, and he's texting me like a millisecond before. Man, New Hook, that was a good chance. New Hook with a good chance there. Yeah, Marner. Oh, another brutal giveaway by the Leafs. They're sleeping on the zone exits. I have to say, the Leafs are obviously a good team. They're obviously going to contend, but I still don't have a lot of confidence in that defense of theirs. Morgan Riley did not look like himself a year ago, and I'm not so sure that's going to. I'm not entirely sure that Morgan Riley's going to find his game again. They need him to find his game again. Otherwise, the Leafs are pretty screwed, I'd say. Yeah, you were the first to say that Kapanen scored, so I believe you might be a smidge ahead of the rest of us. Are you at the Scotiabank Arena? Maybe that's the only way. No, you're on Sportsnet Plus as well. All right, I don't know. I'm on Sportsnet Plus. Not sure. Mine is a smidge behind, but I also have a lot of other things. I also have a lot of other things on right now. I do have this live blog going. Yeah. Do you watch the Habs in English or French? Uh, that's the age-old question for Habs fans. I will typically watch RDS. So during the week, I'll watch the RDS games. Tonight, the game is on Sportsnet and on TVA. So I decided to watch it on Sportsnet. I will say that TVA is for whatever reason, even as a subscriber, very difficult to log in. I find I have a lot of login issues with TVA that I don't have with Sportsnet. So when the choice is to watch it on Sportsnet or TVA, usually for login reasons, I will stick with Sportsnet. But I'll watch RDS in French during the week. Well, after giving up a few shots early, yeah, after giving up a few shots early, I will say that the Habs are Canadians are definitely playing better. Yeah, is everybody rooting for the Jays? Is that what we've come to as Habs fans? Rooting for the Jays? No, no. I root for the Raptors. I will say I'm not a Jays fan. Well, I'm a root against the Yankees fan, but the Jays, but the Raptors, I like. They also have absolutely zero chance of winning anything this year, so they're safe to root for them. Yeah, that's fair. And I always thought it was a little shameless how the Jays, in the wake of the Expos leaving, played those exhibition games at the Olympic Stadium. I mean, I went to them because I like baseball, but I went to them and there was zero mention of the Expos, and it was all like Jays merch, and they put up Jays signs in the Olympic Stadium, and that felt like sort of a an enemy conqueror planting their flag on their defeated foe. So for that reason, I could never truly root for the Jays. But Vladdy had nothing to do with that. So Vladdy Jr. is okay in my books. Argos. Does anyone root for the Argos? I don't root for the Argos. Yeah. You guys gonna watch? There's a documentary coming out on Netflix at the end of the month. Who killed the Montreal Expos? Made by a local documentarian. It's got interviews with Pedro and all, like dozens of former Expos. Most famously, there's also he interviewed David Sampson for about 2 hours, and David Sampson said afterwards, "Had no idea that I was the villain of this movie." That's Sampson for you. Slight good sense of humor, but also slightly unaware. But I'm sure he knows he's the enemy of that story. But yeah, who killed the Montreal Expos on Netflix the end of the month? Definitely before the end of the month, like the 21st or something. So definitely check it out. Nice job. Who was that in front? Bolduc. Bolduc and Caulfield in front, was that? Yeah, I got to get used to Bolduc's number 76. I don't remember the game one last year. I remember October and November last year. They were awful, awful, awful first 2 months of the season. It's really incredible to think that they actually ended up making the playoffs. Considering how there was a point in time where it was like, oh yeah, they're gonna get another first overall pick, and this rebuild's gonna take another 5 years, and then around Christmas time on that crazy road trip just turned it around. And then after the Four Nations break, obviously turned it into overdrive. So Marty in training camp talked a lot about not repeating last October and November's disastrous start. So I think he'll be pretty pleased if they play like this more often than not. Right? I was having that joke about that with the Gazette staff the other day. What the heck kind of start is this for the Habs? They start at home against Seattle and then play Nashville, I think it is. What are you doing to us? Come on, NHL schedulers. Don't you have a sense of history or anything? But I guess this year, Toronto gets their nice. They get this game, and then we do Detroit and Chicago. So I mean, we do open with three um, original 6 games, but we also get three, or we also get two games, two really nothing burger games against nothing burger teams. No offense to Nashville and Seattle. Yeah, no, Line A was huge when he came back from injury, which is what makes it so complicated for Marty this year. Because I mean, he already put Line A in the fourth line, doesn't trust him. Line A already got a penalty tonight. Might not see the ice on 5-on-5 that much the rest of the way, but like they need not that yeah, they need his goals. They need like the offense he can provide. So I just don't know. But if you can't trust him and you can't put him out there, then what is he doing? Felt a little bit like that when do you remember when the Canadiens traded for Thomas Vanek and was supposed to be the guy that turned the tables on that season, and Terry just put him on the third line, and they had a game where I think it was game one against the Rangers, I want to say, in the playoffs. And they put Brian Flynn at center, like second line center. And I'm like, man, you got Galchenyuk and Vanek, and you don't trust either of them to go out there. But I guess that team did make the third round, so maybe he was onto something. Well, oh, hi. Hello, New Zealander. Thank you for joining us. Um, First power play of the season for the Habs. I think this is probably the thing that everybody is most excited about. Yeah, that was a pretty lazy penalty by Nylander there. Yeah, I think the power play is probably the thing that we're all most excited about. I mean, they have like 10, 12 guys that could be pretty solid power play performers. So it's just a matter of finding the right mix. But that didn't start off so well. But we'll see where it goes. Yeah, Bolduc on the first power play unit seems like a lot, but the thing is that he has a very particular skill, and that is to shoot from the bumper. Like he's really good at it. I think he scored 8 or 9 power play goals for the Blues last year, which in a rookie season is amazing. But so Bolduc has this very very particular skill that he's good at, and that's why he's there. And right there, his shot just got the Leafs player pretty hard. Jillian, I cannot do that for legal reasons. I cannot. I would love to. I would love to show the game as I talk about it, but unfortunately, the Montreal Canadiens, the rights holders are not me. It's tonight it's Sportsnet and TVA, and I would not want their lawyers to get at me. But it would be fun to actually show the game, wouldn't it? Maybe one day. Maybe one day we'll get the. I mean, that's what happened to Steve Dangle, right? Steve Dangle ended up joining Sportsnet and then watched the games on Sportsnet because they had the rights, so he was able to do it. Well, that's the power play. Yeah, they didn't score on that power play, but I wouldn't say that they were like ineffective. They did move the puck around nice. Leafs did a good job blocking shots, actually. I will say they a couple of painful ones. Oof, very nice play by Matheson on Michelli there. Yeah, I am a little bit behind, eh? Well, that's okay. But Matheson was able to prevent the breakaway there by using his feet and then getting him with the stick and not drawing a penalty. Very nice. Yes, Steve Dangle losing his mind is one of the real treats in this hockey universe. Um, Not to say I'm definitely not. I mean, this is the first time I'm doing this, so I'm clearly not Steve Dangle good. But when I did pitch this idea, when we were trying to think of ways to get people to comment and to keep hanging out with the live blog when we don't have comments on the website, when I proposed potentially doing a live YouTube of it, they were like, how does that work? And I was like Steve Dangle. And they're like, oh, okay. So Steve Dangle is the universal. Everybody knows Steve Dangle, or at least everybody's watched him before. Not to promote another man's work. No, I happy to promote other people's works. I did see that Steve Dangle did drop a Canadian season preview on the Steve Dangle Podcast Network today. So I am looking forward to watching that probably tonight. You guys might find this funny. I know you know that I've been doing this live blog for this video one just tonight for the first time, but you know that I've been doing it on the website obviously for years and years. And you might be surprised to learn that once the game is done, and I've filed about last night, which is the column that you guys read in the morning. I do just kind of watch a lot of Hab stuff. I don't know. I don't. At the end of the day, I'm not like, I just got to turn off my brain and do something else. I mean, sometimes I do watch something else. Sometimes, I mean, my wife gets tired of it, right? My wife wants me to watch something else other than Habs stuff. But I do watch like Habs videos on my phone, usually until I go to bed. Did you see all the guys on Dangle podcast when McDavid signed for 12 million? No, I haven't watched that yet. I need to. God, that must have been funny. Did they think that he might sign with the Leafs? I guess it's not a crazy thought. If like let's say McDavid was ever to leave, that would have been the thought, but I guess it didn't happen. Max, you want to see Doc more involved? Yeah, so do I. So do I. This is absolutely the final. I think the final straw for Doc this season. It's the final year of his deal. He has been injured for most of it and ineffective for a lot of it. Oof. Uh, but you know what? The thing about Doc is they went into the offseason, there were not a lot of centers available. You basically, your choice was try Doc one more time or sign Jack Roslovich for like 4 million bucks. And they decided to try Doc one more time, which fair enough. There wasn't like a really great center available. And I think with Bolduc probably got like one of the better forwards that you could get on the market. And then they definitely got the best defenseman on the market outside of like the, veterans who the Canes were not going to pick up. I put in the chat the latest episode of Hockey Inside Out. Nux and Greeny are back for the full season, so enjoy. They're great. That show's as it's as much fun to watch them film it as it is to watch it afterwards. Those guys are hilarious. How indeed does Christian Dvorak get $5 million? A friend of mine messaged me. He's the first line center tonight for the Flyers. They moved Sean Couturier to the wing. Couturier, also one of the best face-off men in the league. They moved him to the wing to put Dvorak at center. Man, the Flyers. Like they used to, I swear they used to be good. I swear they used to be good a long time ago. Many years ago. The 90s. They were very good in the 90s. But I don't know. I don't really know what's going on there. They're drafting. They got Mishkov, which I'll give them credit there. Sounded like Mishkov is the only place he wanted to play, which makes life easier for the Flyers. But I don't really know. I look at like what the Flyers are up to, and then I look at like what like Anaheim, Utah, San Jose are up to, and I feel like those teams, yeah, they've drafted a lot of interesting, talented players, and the Flyers, I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know when they're gonna turn the corner. Yeah, I mean, Dvorak. I mean, Dvorak first of all was like a star player in junior. Like people thought he was gonna be really good, and then he was pretty good in Arizona. But I think there was always a feeling that there was more offense in him, and up until the like last 2 months of his time in Montreal, did not really show it off. That's one thing about Dvorak. I mean, everybody was like, "Oh, he's gone. Who's gonna kill penalties?" But it's not like Dvorak was particularly effective for the bulk of his time here, and the Canadiens seemed to manage just fine. A healthy, productive Dvorak was helpful, but I don't know how. I don't know which Dvorak's going to show up for the Flyers, basically. Yeah, I mean that's when Torts is your coach, right? You're gonna like his whole thing is that he like alienates. There are guys who love him, and then there are guys who just will never want to play with him or play for him. And I don't know. Somebody's gonna call him. He's gonna get another job. It always happens, but I can't imagine it's a modern team winning with John Tortorella as your coach. Oof, nice little chance for the Leafs there, but first period is over. Uh, it's 1-1. That was a good period. I'm like pretty yeah, nothing amazing. Pretty solid. Yes, in junior, Dvorak played with Marner. That does help. That does make life easy for you. Yeah, Dvorak's not gonna get so lucky in Philly. Not playing with anybody that good. I guess. I mean, I guess he might play a little bit with Mishkov, but they probably shouldn't do that. I'd say that's fair. Like a pretty choppy. I miss that hit. Josh Manson in like the Colorado for Colorado. I did not see that. Yeah, Dobson was. So Gooley Hudson were the defensemen on the goal, and then Dobson and Gooley were or sorry, Dobson and Matheson were the guys on the PK for the shorthanded goal. But I don't disagree about the sloppy back end clearing. Yeah, like you guys, I was not happy about that twofer against Ottawa. I thought that Ottawa was not in it to win it. They were in it to injure somebody, and for a preseason set of games, I thought that was pretty low. But that's Ottawa for you. Their new owner, who of course was the Canadiens' old part owner, definitely had some things to say afterwards. He's definitely trying to get a rivalry going, which for business purposes, I fully understand why he's doing that. Basically, obviously, stoking a rivalry is good for business. Yeah, Matheson Dobson could be a good pair. Yeah, people are sort of unsure about how they feel about that one. I feel like they can both skate. They can definitely skate. They can definitely move. They're big. They're not necessarily very physical, but they're big. So it's just a question of, you know, do they make sense together? Will they be able to sort of cover up each other's mistakes? I think so. No, I believe that Andlauer, the owner for the Senators, especially because he came from the Canadiens, he was part owner here. I do believe that he is focusing primarily on the Canadiens as Ottawa's main rival. And I think the reason why is because they're both kind of like finishing off their rebuilds and they're like starting to develop and become good. They both made the playoffs last year. I think that's like kind of the vibe he's going for here. He's trying to he thinks they're going to be neck and neck the next few years. By the way, posting in the chat, um, the sports team worked on something super fun. The top 20 most influential people in hockey in Montreal right now. Uh, just check it out. It's a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. Stu, myself, and Brendan, and Herb was involved as well. And we all just like, and Aislinn did the cartoons, did the hockey cards. So have a look. Tell us what you think. I don't know if I'm supposed to tell you this, but as you might have noticed, you can't sign into the website right now. So technically, there's no paywall. You can actually just go read whatever you want on the website. That's by design, by the way. I'm not telling you like a secret that nobody knows. Um, because of the whole commenting thing wasn't working, we felt like we wanted to provide a little extra value to our readers right now. So you can go read whatever you want until it's fixed. Yeah, 91 points. They're gonna post this up. 91 points does not clinch you a playoff spot. Is 100% true. The Canadiens did get lucky last year. They have to be better. If the Canadiens have the exact same season as they do last year, they do not make the playoffs this year. The odds of it are infinitesimal. So the Canadiens do need to be better. Surprised by the lack of physical play. Yes, I agree. They mentioned that too during the intermission crew. That both teams seemed a little tentative, especially when you compare it to the two Ottawa preseason games. Yeah, no, it did seem like a bit of a quiet first period. So we'll see what happens. sometimes that happens. You get really amped up for the season, and then you start playing, and you're like, it's a long season ahead. 82 games. Let's not blow it all right in the beginning. But other games looked crazy. So Florida came out swinging. So we'll see what happens. I love Sweden. I used to go there often as a kid. I don't get to go as much as I used to, but I went to visited Stockholm a couple of years ago. Had a great time, and yeah, Hudson winning the Norris is an interesting thought. I'm not sure if he's ready to contend for a Norris, but he had such a unique first season in the league that I won't put anything past him. I Does me no good to doubt Lane Hudson at this point. Yeah, it was 1-1 in the Jays game right now. See what happens. All right, we are back. Yeah, the Demidov hype is I don't want to get too ahead of myself either. Is he like amongst the rookies like one of if not the most talented one? Yeah, I think that's fair to say. But actually putting it together and having that season, especially at a young age, is you just don't know. You don't know. I thought in the preseason it looked like teams were just going to physically manhandle him and see if he fights back. That's going to be tough. He's going to play some nights where they're going to really target him. So, it'll be up to Demidov to figure that out and figure out how to like play consistently without a lot of time and space. That being said, and he's got his first as a Canadian. Zach Bullduke potting that rebound. Had there was like two there were like two guys behind the Leafs defense. What on earth was going on there? There were three Leafs. Three Leafs just sitting in the zone. Look at that. Gallagher puts that shot on net. Nice low shot. And Bolduc's the only guy who goes to the net. Oh my goodness. Oh my god. Ekman Larson. Habs keep it in. Yeah, Demidov is has entered the conversation. He's looked good so far this period. Yeah, the Leafs did not look good on that sequence. That's the that's that young Habs skill. You know, the Leafs have like pretty weak older defense. Yeah, if only Suzuki had been able to one timer that one, but he wasn't quite able to get it done, unfortunately. Yeah, Slav is. I know he's already saying in the interviews that he's tired of not reaching his potential, and he hopes to reach it this year. But yeah, he's not. He's been good at the things that are like not flashy. Like he's not a guy who's going to make you stand at attention, but he does little things quite well. We're tied up. Habs can't clear, and then bounces to the Leafs guy in front to Riley. Yeah, Yarncroak. That was a great pass by Hudson. Like, last guy back. And look at him. Able to just spinorama, beat Michelli, get the puck up the ice to Demidov. There are not a lot of guys in this league that can do what he just did. And he made it look really easy. What an impressive player. Yeah, I agree. And that's like the Canadiens are just more talented. Like they just have more talented players. And when you're talent and really in the NHL, sign of being talented is just being able to hold on to the puck that extra second longer to create a play. That's honestly what separates the pretty good players from the great players. And guys, that's what why guys like Demidov are so exciting and Hudson are so exciting because they can do that. Mike Matheson. Does Mike Matheson get a bad rap in Montreal? I think so. I think he was thrust into the position of being a number one defenseman when at no point in his career he had ever been one, but had to be because they were rebuilding. You have to remember there was that, what was it, 2 years ago where they opened the season with like five rookie defensemen? And amongst those rookies defensemen was like Kovacevic and Jordan Harris. Like this, there was, go look at that defense. It was god awful. And a bunch of rookies. And Matheson was like the one guy holding it down. Him and David Savard. So uh, yeah, I think Matheson's role is kind of winding down here a little bit. Although I think they could still keep him. I do think it's possible. I don't think that they're thumbing their nose at defensive depth here. I think they could definitely keep him, especially with Reinbacher looking like a complete mess at this point with injuries. I think they would have loved to be able to count on Reinbacher in a year, but they can't. You're not on the Hudson bandwagon? Well, you have to tell us why not. Yeah, I gotta know. I gotta know. What is it about Hudson that you're not convinced about? Is it because I know he's small. There is that. That's trust me. That's dogged him his whole career, and that's gonna dog him till he stops playing. Uh, but otherwise, yeah. I mean, all he did was put up offense this past season, last season, won the Calder, was, top 10 scoring defenseman in the league in his first season, always making smart plays. I'm surprised you're not like super into to Hudson. Well, it's always going to be one, but yeah, can a first pair defenseman be 5'9", 160 pounds? That is a very legit question. I I I he would be the first. He would be like the first, right? I guess like Torrey Krug maybe for a little while in Boston was a top pairing guy at that size. But you're right. It's Phil Housley. I mean, Phil Housley was like another lifetime ago, a different era for defensemen. But yeah, I don't know. I No, no, I know exactly what you mean, Sean. Don't worry about it. I get what you're saying. Yeah, is Hudson too small to be a number one defenseman? And it's interesting because in the playoffs, it was hard. It was absolutely he adapted and he played well, but it was hard for him for sure. And how would 4 rounds be? Um, Now they did just sign Dobson, who I think will shoulder some of that load as well, and he's 6'4". So, and the rest of the defense, and the good thing is that the rest of the Canadians' defense is pretty big. So they got Dobson and Gooley, big guys. Matheson's big guy. Carrier is a small guy, but whatever. He's the sixth. He's the sixth defenseman. It's okay. Reinbacker, should he make it, is a big guy. Obviously, Struble and Jack Eye, big guys. So in a well insulated defensive core, I think Hudson's got a lot of possibilities. But I don't think he's. Yeah, I don't think you could have too many. I don't think you have more than one, to be honest. I think you can deal with one small defenseman if he's that talented. And in Hudson's case, I do think he's talented. But no, it's an absolutely fair question to ask. Is he a legit? Can he ever be a legit number one defenseman? Because historically, the little guys have not been that. Dobson is a huge upgrade on Savard. Might be the the understatement of the year. Yeah, David Savard. God love David Savard. He he put his body on the line his during the 4 years that he was a Montreal Canadian, and nothing but nice things to say about his effort level. But my goodness, in the last part of that deal, was it rough to watch him on the ice. He blocked a lot of shots because that was kind of what he could do. And Noah Dobson is, a 24-year-old Ferrari that hopefully we can get out of the garage and will hopefully show us what he can do. But yeah, Dobson massively changes the complexion of that defense, and the for the amount that they're paying him, I hope he can really, play 25 minutes a night and be a massive possession monster 5-on-5 specifically. Because I think Hudson can probably hold it down on the power play. So Dobson really needs to be a great 5-on-5 guy. Yeah. That's really the thing about Hudson. Hudson, if he has a great career, he is an outlier. But he's already like won the Calder, right? So he's like already sort of on track to be. I think you can make an educated guess that he is going to be an outlier. I don't think he's going to be Will Butcher. You guys know Will Butcher, Hobie Baker winner, signed in Jersey, had a great first season, and then just cratered after that, out of the league in like 3 years. 100%. David Savard, and I'm glad that David Savard's still with the organization. Absolute heart and soul player. A little bit like Matheson was like the one veteran on the right side that they had and was forced to play way more than he probably should have. Like he played most of his Montreal career as a top four defenseman, and David Savard at no point in his time in the Canadiens should he have been one. But you know what? He played hard minutes so that younger guys didn't have to and that they could get acclimated faster. So I'll always have a ton of respect for Matheson and Savard for what they did. Does Patrick Waugh grow a beard now that Lou Lamoriello is gone? I say yes. I say he's going to enjoy his newfound freedom and he is going to grow a pretty amazing beard. Uh, I'm stoked to see another season of Waugh coaching. Glad he's not coaching the Habs, but I'm glad he's coaching. Fun to watch. He'll probably be the new Tortorella, like the guy who just gets irrationally mad all the time, and then we watch the highlights and love it. Yeah, absolutely. Especially on a boring team like the Islanders. The Islanders deserve a crazy Patrick Waugh freak out this season, where he's slamming the bench, pounding the glass. We deserve it. Islanders, beleaguered Islanders fans who have very little to cheer for this year, except for hopefully Ilya Sorokin single handedly putting them into the playoffs. Otherwise, have nothing to cheer for. They can cheer for Matthew Darsh. Hopefully, Darsh will be able to trade some more veterans. Back to the power play. This has been a pretty, outside of the early goals, has been a pretty uneventful period. But yeah, a rare offensive zone penalty for Matthew Nyes and the Leafs. With Marner gone, Nyes is definitely like the guy who they're expecting to step in and be a frontline player. We'll see how that goes. But and yeah, Bolduc again on the first power play unit. So they're really working on this. Man, Hudson was holding the line so well that power play, and then last second, one more chance, and he blows a tire on that one. But I mean, almost the whole, basically the whole 2 minutes. But yeah, the Habs are now 0 for 2 on the power play. Oh, they thought that was going to be an icing, but waved off at the last second. Yeah, I agree. It was they haven't scored yet in the power play, and I think that the Leafs have done a good job blocking the lanes, but the Habs have like still gotten their chances. Oof, Evans off the rush. Yeah, Evans, man. He the recipient of a very nice 4 year contract extension. We haven't talked about Evans much. What do we think about Evans this year? Is he going to score 10 goals? That's been like kind of his baseline. He's like usually a little under that, but he's gotten over that too. Uh yeah. Is he going to live up to that deal? It's a long-term deal. He's not like super highly paid, so it's like a good deal for the Habs, but yeah. Very nice play by Bolduc at the blue line there. And then Tavares hit one off the post. A little bit of action here at the end of the period. I don't even understand how the puck got to Slavkovsky in front. Looked like there was a collision in the corner. I didn't think the Habs player even got the puck off, and then poop, puck goes right into the slot for Slavkovsky. Ooh, and there we go. Now we got some. Now we got some physical play. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to be realistic about Evans, right? What are his career totals are nothing to write home about. Evans scored 13 last year, but before that he has 7 2. He had 2 goal season, 13 21 22, and then 3 in 2021. So he's got 40 goals in his career in ostensibly like 5 full seasons basically. So his average is under 10, and he's 29. So we'll see. It wouldn't shock me if Evans didn't score 10 goals this year. It seems like there's a lot of offense on the other lines, and I don't know. And again, a lot of it could come on the PK, but if Newhook and Kapanen are finding a lot of success on the PK, and Evans doesn't find himself a new partner to play with, maybe Evans is on the second PK unit going forward. So I don't know. But hey, the Canadians do not have a lot of center depth. Jake Evans is a good player to have, whether or not he scores 10 goals. Oh, Slavkovsky fanned on it, but it actually almost ended up with an even better chance for Suzuki in front. So there you go. Looked like that was the end of the period, but Canadians tried to get one more chance. But now we're officially done. Yeah, Habs are playing all right. Not a bad first game here. Not a bad first 40 minutes, but nothing to write home about, eh? Yeah, the Habs definitely could use, especially after that power play. I thought after that power play it was like a bit of a lull. So, and I'm gonna assume that the Leafs are gonna get the first power play in the third period. So, Canadiens will have to weather a penalty kill, I assume, and then hopefully they can get back. Hopefully they can get back some energy here. Haven't seen much. Josh Anderson usually plays the Leafs pretty hard. Haven't seen Josh much tonight. Maybe Josh is the one who like gets his legs moving in the third period. Although with Josh, it's usually enters the game legs moving or not. All right, hold on. I'll be back in like 1 minute. Just gotta refill my water. Oh, we got a game after too. Oilers Flames. I'll probably watch that. In case you guys were wondering about last night, we'll continue. I'm gonna. I always write it up right after the game. Again, you can read that at MontrealGazette.com. Um, I'm getting messages from. I'm getting tweets anyway from Brendan Kelly that says that McLean's Pub on Peel. If you've ever been to Montreal, you've possibly been there or watched a game there, but apparently it is absolutely popping tonight. There's a lot of excitement about the team in Montreal. Um, there's a lot of buzz. I think the team has brought back a lot of fans because of the style of play. I think people see the highlights and they're like, "Oh, there's actually like fun players to watch." I know, winning is important, and Burke Bergevin always said you build from the goaltender out, and these things are you obviously have to have good goaltending, got to have good defense to win. But I will say that there are a lot of fans that if you're not being very entertaining, even if you're a good team, they're not gonna they're not gonna be as interested as compared to a team that really has like a lot of skill and can score goals and can look impressive. So I think the Canadiens are in good shape right now in terms of bringing in new fans, bringing back fans that might have fallen off a little bit. I think the team is in very good shape in that regard. Doesn't hurt they got a good their marketing department's a lot better than it was a few years ago. That was another thing under Bergevin that was a lot different. Like the team was actually very sort of I would say against marketing. They were against like any flash or the team being fun or funny. Like it just wasn't like how they were. It was to be as quiet as possible, and you know, ultimately this team is about the own. Obviously, Jeff Molson wants a winner, but he wants to sell tickets too. So I think he's going to be excited with what he sees here with like a fun, with a more fun team. Um, Chicago won a cup with an average goalie in 2010. Absolutely. I will say you're more likely to win a cup with a really, really good team and like an average goalie that gets like hot enough to win. Because that's the thing, right? Goalies also are kind of like up and down. You look at somebody like Bobrovsky. Bobrovsky's had terrible seasons where people thought, my God, he's done. And then he had seasons where he's, the best goalie in the world. So I do think there's a little bit of that in play as well. You don't have to have the best goalie in the league all the time to win. If I and when I look, a lot of talk about Sam Montembeault. Brandon Kelly and I have talked about Sam Montembeault a lot. Brandon Kelly's like they're never going to win with Montembeault as their number one. That ultimately like Fowler or Dobesh going to have to take over, and that's an inevitability for success on this team. I don't necessarily see it that way. I do think that Sam Montembeault has shown that he can be like hot enough that he can, with a solid defense around him, which he's never had, he could probably play well enough to backstop a team like a very talented team. This game looks like the first game of the season. Yeah, it feels like a preseason game tonight. Honestly, the preseason games were more physical than this game. What the heck was that? They just did one of those interviews with Marty St. Louis. They asked one question. I think he gave a one-word answer, and they're like, "Thanks, great. That was real informative." All right, we're back for the third period. Only 27 goals for the Habs by their defense last year. That's crazy to think. Because I like to think they do get a lot of offensive production from their defense, but I guess it's not in goals. Nice try to get the puck in front there. Bobby McMahon, deceptive player right there. Didn't look like he had a lot of room for a shot, but came off the stick pretty hard. Hmm. That got the Leafs fans going. An icing call. Hadn't. Oh, such nice stick handling by Caulfield on that play. Just I think ran out of an angle to shoot. But what a move. Jays. They're still in New York too, right? Oh my goodness. The Jays win in the Bronx. I know we talked about the Jays earlier and how they did the Expos dirty, but man, beating the Yankees would still feel good. I gotta admit, man, crazy stat: 10 straight home wins for the Leafs versus the Habs. Oh, that's funny. That's what the Leafs fans were excited about. The Jays score. They cheered that louder than any of the Leafs goals tonight. Are we sure Toronto's a hockey town? They might be a baseball town. Maybe that's the mistake that we've made this whole time. But a pretty remarkable stat that the Leafs have won 10 straight home games against the Habs. I find that hard to believe, but that's the thing that the Habs are going to have to reverse if they want to become the best team in the division. They haven't played Toronto or Ottawa particularly well in the last few years. And I think the day that they turn that around is the day that the Habs will, be contenders in the Atlantic instead of just like a middle range team. Ooh, Matthews hurt. Matthews blocked a shot at the point by Suzuki, and he went to the bench real slow. He did not block it in a textbook fashion, I will say. He did that kind of one knee down, which just exposes you to all. Yeah, he's keeled over on the bench now. He does not look good. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? If you're not like a genuinely good shot blocker, you probably should not be blocking very many shots. Like you're just gonna. I understand you want to be like selfless for your team, but if Austin Matthews is out for any amount of time off a shot block on a shot that had no chance anyway of going through, I'm sure fans will not be happy about that. Oof. Hudson. Hudson with the ankle breaker on Tanev there. Unreal stuff. Ooh, I think we got an offensive zone penalty here. Yeah, Demonov did exactly what Line A did earlier. A little too aggressive on the puck and ended up hacking his man. I would argue that most of the penalties tonight, well, the knees one was the knees one was obvious, but the Nylander one was another one where it was like, the guy got in the way of the stick. Well, Matthews is back out there, so I think it was just. I think that block is probably going to leave a welt, but I don't think any permanent damage was done. Nice clear by Evans. Also, I will say this is exactly what I predicted in the second intermission. I said that the Leafs would get a power play, and then it would be up to the Habs after that to weather the penalty kill and then finally get a jolt in the third period. It's true. Kapanen is a little faster and bigger than Plekanec. He's got the tools. One thing about Plekanec is Plekanec played in Laval or I guess it wasn't Laval back then. It was St. John's at that Sherbrooke. I don't even remember. Probably Hamilton. It was probably the Hamilton Bulldogs. Plekanec played like 3 seasons. He played a long time in Hamilton. He spent a lot of time in the AHL, whereas Kapanen is uh, barely, probably just going to play that playoff in Laval, and that's probably it. But he did play that extra year in Sweden. Yeah, that power play is over, and they didn't do much of anything. I thought the Canadiens played it very aggressively, and then when Toronto did finally get in the zone, Canadiens played it pretty tight, and the Leafs kind of just stuck on the outside. I mean, very curious to see the offensive zone numbers. I just feel like the Canadiens spend a lot of time in the offensive zone. It hasn't necessarily translated into more chances, but it does feel like the Canadiens, uh, once they're in the zone, man, yeah, oh, Slavkovsky right in front. He had more time and he had more time and space than he realized. And then Toronto nearly scored the other way, and the Canadiens nearly took a penalty trying to take him down. But yeah, Slavkovsky has had more time and space in the slot than he realized. How about Hudson and his newfound shot? Nope, that one missed. Oh, terrible play by the Canadiens. Two broken sticks, but how do they leave Riley like that? Ah, boy. Yeah. Look at Hudson, man. Just missed that one. I think Stolar's got a piece of it. And then Hudson's got to come back to stop Nyes with no stick. Manhandles his guys. But then, where's Slavkovsky on that? Why isn't Slavkovsky on Riley? Riley's the trailer. Look. Ah, there was a guy who came over to help out Hudson because Hudson didn't have a stick. Yes, the broken stick is like what causes the play initially, right? So the stick's broken, Nyes goes up, Hudson tries to stop him like with no stick, did a great job. But like during that time, people are coming back and like I don't know. But yes, the broken stick is what causes the play initially. Yes, I think yes, that is 100% fair. The whole whether or not Slavkovsky like a goal was very possible for the Leafs. They were basically on a power play at that point. But still, not a great sequence for the Habs on that one. Mix of bad luck and bad play. What a great play by oh, was that Domi? Did he catch that puck out of the air? I'll give him credit there. Yes, that Demidov shot in the slot was man. He needed to hit the net there because it sent the puck the other way, right? He hit it super high off the glass, and then Tavares got a chance at the other end. So Demidov needed to make that one. Do we have another broken stick? No, we don't have another broken stick. We have a dropped stick, though. What a play by Nicolas Roy, by the way. The Leafs are coming on now, I gotta say. Nicolas Roy kind of like split three guys, kind of jumped into the three guys, but then was able to find his man. Yeah, was Montebo a little deep in his net there on that one? Again, bit of a broken play. Yeah, the Leafs are they're coming alive now. Habs need to reset here. I mean, again though, like the Canadians are in the offensive zone, out of the zone now, but again they like do mount some good offensive zone time, which is I don't know if Dobson was on the ice there, but that was a big reason why they got Dobson. I'm gonna have to watch the replay on that Montembeau goal, or sorry, on the Riley goal on Montembeau. I thought he was deep, but yeah, it was pretty much a broken play. I remember Riley being open. That was the part that I remember seeing. I remember seeing Riley like open in the slot, and I was like, where the heck is everybody? But I'll have to look at Montembeau again. I'll admit that I was not watching Montembeau super carefully on that goal. That's true. Hellebuck is also just he is who he is, man. That guy's good. Not good in the playoffs, weirdly enough. You don't think about that so much for goaltenders sometimes, not playing well in the big game, but he's struggled in the playoffs. But yeah, regular season, Hellbuck's just big and hard to beat. It was a nice save by Montembeau and Robertson. Yeah, what do you think the split's going to be with Montebo this year? This is the first. Well, last year was the first, I guess, because Primo, they weren't quite sure what they had in Caden Primo. So, but Montebo played a career high last year. Is he just like the undisputed number one goalie? Or does Dobish have a chance to like play a little more? That's what I'm curious about. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, the Canadians, I mean, these are, gosh, you hate to put like too much pressure on a game one of 82, but these are the games that like do come back to haunt you sometimes because it's against a divisional opponent. I think we all assume that Toronto's going to be a little ahead of the Montreal in the standings, but you don't really know. They could be much tighter than we think. 2 points can make a difference. Absolutely. They've had their chances tonight, but nothing to show for it. So far, Suzuki's got 2 shots, Caulfield's got 3 shots, and Slavkovsky's got 2 hits and 5 shots. But that would be. It's either that's a 6 shot. Yeah, I was gonna say, did that hit the post and go out or no? That was a 6 shot. So Slavkovsky is the leader on in shots tonight with 6. Uh, but I can't say that any of those shots have been so amazing. Not that he's got a great shot. He's got an okay shot. But yeah. So Slav is like, once again like putting up certain numbers, but like he hasn't. The results are not like totally there. But I was in a talking to a friend about a hockey fantasy draft he was in. He was in a pool, and it was one of those pools. It's not one of those like points pools. It's a pool with like a lot of categories. And Slavkovsky went very high, and we were all quite surprised. And then it was like, no, actually, like how many guys do you think can really score 20 goals and provide 200 hits in a season, which ostensibly Slavkovsky either did or got very close to last year. So he is pretty rare. He is a pretty rare bird. Thoughts on Dobson tonight? Not that noticeable. I feel like I feel like when the Canadians have created the offensive zone, he's tended to not be out there as much as Hudson. I've noticed him a little bit in our zone. Like, yeah, I don't know. Dobson hasn't like I haven't noticed him too much tonight. I will say, certainly compared to Hudson. Hudson's been very noticeable. It's because all the talk about Veleno because he's a local boy. Not only is he a local boy, he's from the West Island, so that's a Gazette favorite right there. You can't get more Gazette than that. The West Island hockey player. Actually, you can. Torrey Mitchell, Greenfield Park, Canadians player. That is the most Montreal Gazette you could possibly get. But we'll give it up for Veleno. But yeah, he's the 13th forward. Dobson, Matheson. Yeah, I agree. They've played well. I guess when I say that I haven't noticed Dobson too much, that goes in like a positive. It goes in a positive sense in a way because he is a defenseman. I have not noticed any like glaring Dobson mistakes tonight. So yeah, at any time now, Montebo's leaving. That was it. Too many men, or it wasn't called, but Yeah, especially with not. I mean, I know that wasn't the line last year, but like they did have Anderson, Gallagher, Dvorak for much of last year. Evans would have been an easy fit, and they've decided not to bring that line back. So that's kind of an interesting. That was an interesting move by St. Louis. There you go. There's Dobson. Very nice play by Dobson to put the puck on net with Caulfield in front. So there's 142 left. Is Marty going to call a timeout here? Oh, empty netter. That's that. Yeah, that was not. It was not necessarily a bad play. Just I mean, when Lion is your last guy back, well, no, no, they're trying for the goal. They're trying for the goal. It's okay that Lion is your last guy back. Dobson, Dobson. I mean, Dobson's a smooth skater, but he wasn't gonna catch up there. I'm okay with him not hurtling head first into that. Um, yeah, here's the thing about the Leafs, and they've done this before in the past. They're not great for the whole game, but they're like in the third period they got good for enough time. You know what I mean? That's the thing about the Leafs, and like the thing about veteran teams sometimes they just know when to turn on the Jets. And the Leafs played well, just long enough to win. Don't panic, Max. Don't panic. Everything's gonna be okay. Thanks so much for thanks so much for coming, Timur. I appreciate it very much. I will probably also switch to the Jays game as soon as this is done as well. Well, the Habs. I mean, the Habs still the empty net. Classic St. Louis. We're not giving up until the final second here. If Joe Valeno is the savior this year, the Habs are in a lot of trouble. But I hope Joe Valeno is kind of good. I hope he's like a fourth line center good. Oh no, another blown tire. Nylander makes it 5-2. Oh no. Oh no. It's gonna look. It doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter if you lose 4-2 or 5-2. But you know what's gonna happen. Tomorrow morning, people are gonna go to MontrealGazette.com. Yes, exactly. But I mean, that's what happened to Lane Hudson last year, right? Wasn't Lane Hudson on the ice for like 9 empty net goals, and he finished the season like -1? I remember seeing somebody saying like, "Oh, he's a minus player. He shouldn't. He's not a good defenseman." And I'm like, "Well, hold on. He was on the ice for like 9 empty netters." Yeah. So 5-2 looks worse than it was. The Canadians played well. They did not cash in on their chances, though, admittedly. Lane looks pretty frustrated, I will say. Um, but yeah, thank you guys so much for coming. I very much appreciate it. This is not something that I think we're gonna do forever. Maybe we will. I don't know. Maybe it's gonna take off. We're gonna do it forever. I do personally love doing the live blog the way that we've been doing it. That is always gonna be my preference. Who are the play-by-play commentators? It was Cuthbert and Simpson tonight. No, yeah, it was Cuthbert and Simpson tonight. So yeah, so tune into the Gazette all year long. So we've got Hockey Inside Out, weekly shows. Chris Nyland and Rick Green are back. We've got features from Stu Cowan and Herb Zukowski. Oh, thank you so much, Randy. I enjoy doing this too. I'm not again. I'm like a writing guy. I've been writing the live blog for years. Tonight we decided to try something different. I'm gonna try to do this. I can't guarantee that I'm gonna do this every game. Craig Simpson has always been a Hab hater. You know what I'll say about Craig Simpson? I don't think it's so much that he's a Habs hater, so much as he doesn't think about the Habs at all. Like he just doesn't know the team. It's not interesting to him. He doesn't really know the players. So he's very like dismissive of the Canadians because when he's doing a Habs game, it's really like the Maple Leafs versus some nameless opponent that I don't care about. I will definitely do the Habs home opener against the Kraken next week. So here's the schedule. Tomorrow, we're actually doing a live event. The Gazette is doing a live event in Montreal tomorrow. I agree with that. Dobson Matheson, best pairing tonight. Jack, I didn't play very much actually, and Carrie, I don't think played very much either. Two. How much did? Yeah, Carrie played 17 minutes. Jack, I played 11 minutes. Dobson played 23 minutes. But yes. Anyways, look, who in the Canadian media's got anything nice to say about the Habs? That's fair. But anyways, so yeah, we're not doing this tomorrow because there's a live event, a live mayoral debate in Montreal. Yeah, at the Siegel Center tomorrow, but it's not hockey related. It's we're doing a taping of the Corner Booth podcast with the three Montreal mayoral candidates. So if you're interested in Montreal politics, it's a free event to come. Siegel Center, 7:30. I will be there, not hosting or anything. I'm actually just like the producer of that event, so I'll just be there in the corner, making sure everything goes okay. But that's why I'm missing the game. But I will be back Saturday to do Chicago, and then I'll be back next week. And then I think the cadence is going to be pretty regular after that. And then hopefully comments come back on the website soon enough, is my hope. If not, we'll keep doing this. And you could stay tuned to the website. We're gonna do the live blog updates on the website and about last night, which I'm gonna write right after this. But stay tuned to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel because you're gonna get the new Hockey Inside Out episodes every week with Chris Nyland and Rick Green. And God, those guys are hilarious. I love that we put two guys from the '86 Cup team together because those guys are magic. Those guys know where all the bodies are buried in each other's lives, and I love it. Uh, so yeah, thanks again. So yeah, thanks again, everybody. I will see you guys on Saturday.